Hey guys, Brittany Powers here, and today we're going to discuss being culturally responsive in our instruction, and we're going to also discuss some behavior support practices to help us be culturally responsive. So considering these topics, let's first think about where we are now. It's important to look at our strengths because then we can identify these areas so we know to stay consistent in them. So here are some areas we're doing well in that we should stay consistent in. Our classrooms are student-centered. Teachers, you are providing instruction that accommodates multiple learning styles. You're designing lesson plans that are based on your students' interests. And you're participating in regular initiatives like our Peace Week, our One School, One Book, celebrating and advocating for diversity with our Kingdom United program. You're also involving families and giving them a voice. And as much as you can, you're giving student choice on assignments. So great job. Let's keep it up in all of these areas. Next, let's consider what behavior support practices are we using in Blue Valley. These we should be encouraged in and keep up as well. So the first thing we're doing well is teaching explicitly and modeling those positive behaviors that we want to see. We also engaged in implicit bias training early on in the year. And hopefully you're letting that training really influence the way that you lead in your classrooms. And last, we're providing students with positive reinforcements. Let's take a moment to turn and talk. Which staff members do you think are responsible for seeking out students with need? Hopefully you said you. Classroom teachers should be experts on their students and their families. Now, there are other professionals in the building that support students with need, but classroom teachers should act as the advocate that connects the students with need to those other supporting professionals. Some professionals that might be offering support to our students besides the classroom teacher would involve school counselor, school social worker, and of course the other academic support staff members. Next, let's talk about some strategies that we can use in our classrooms to be more culturally responsive. First, create lessons that connect content to your students' culture and daily lives. So can you give your students a place to start building connections between, those standards we have to teach and what goes on at their houses? We are the ones who build this bridge between home and curriculum. We have to make that curriculum meaningful and relevant to our students. So to do this, we really have to find out about our students and their families. Next, present content in multiple forms. It's important to reach all students in every activity, especially when we're measuring their success. So we shouldn't just be reading out loud, we should be presenting visual aids, giving students an opportunity to be hands-on. Consider which students are readers, which students are writers, and make sure that everyone has a fair chance to be successful. And last, students could bring an object from home early on in the year that's meaningful to them to really share about their culture, their family, something that represents who they are, and something that they can leave in the classroom. So not only do we want to have an opportunity for students to share about themselves, we want students to feel ownership of their school environment that they spend time in every day. Activities like this, and this is just one example, but activities like this allow respectful and safe conversations for students to connect. Oftentimes, issues of bullying can be avoided when we embrace activities like this. So more strategies include really cute activity like walking in the shoes of others, which is where students read books that teach empathy and allow students to interview one another. When we do things like this, it's important to praise students who show compassion and really continue in that positive reinforcement that we are doing so well. Another activity you might try in your classroom to build this cultural inclusivity is making a homeroom quilt, where you teach significance of quilts and how it's lots of different pieces, all different from each other, but put together to make one whole. This can teach significance of other cultures coming together to be one unified group. Each student can add their own square that represents their family and unique traditions. You can also have students complete life timelines where they get to tell their stories. And teachers, you can recognize and give a voice and show regard for others who have different perspectives and worldviews than yours. So if there's something that you disagree, maybe talk about it. Share with the students how you disagree with it, but you can see it in a respectful way. Last, we can provide opportunities for effective stimulation and give opportunity for movement for those males. So just really knowing your students and giving them what they need to be successful day in and day out. Next, we'll talk about behavior supports. A behavior support that can be done early on in the year is attending our learning labs, where family members come out and share, and we work together to get on the same page about how to train our students and the behaviors that we want them to be walking in. Next, establishing cultural validity. So this is where inappropriate behaviors are defined very clearly to the students. And this is where teachers get to know the cultures of their students so that there are no misunderstandings. If a student is behaving in a way that's culturally appropriate for them at home, we need to understand that. That way we aren't viewing that student as being defiant or disrespectful. Next, explicitly teach what positive and expected behaviors look like. Tell them what you want. Show them what is expected. Provide public recognition for those positive behaviors. And throughout the year, this isn't just a beginning of the year thing, but really teach pro-social behaviors and skills. Set them up to be successful in life. Some other behavior supports include addressing your biases. So again, we did participate in that training early on in the year. I recommend that you do regular soul searching, regular reflection in these areas. Recognize the needs of your students. So again, reflecting upon your own experiences. What's going wrong? What's going right? What do your students need? Reward expected behaviors. Provide lots of opportunities for students to practice doing the right thing. It may not come naturally to some of our students who have different cultural backgrounds or other challenges that make it hard for them. And again, educators, we need to learn about and validate the other cultures' norms that may exist within our classrooms. And then last, emphasize cultural equity. So differences should be acknowledged and accommodated. So in Blue Valley, which students stand to benefit from culturally responsive instruction and behavior support practices according to the research? In short, nationwide, African American students continue to face disproportionate disciplinary action. So what can we do now? We can set our eyes on one common goal, emphasizing cultural equity in which differences are acknowledged and accommodated. The more we educate ourselves on cultural norms outside of our own and really learn to make room for these students, the less disruptive certain behaviors that we may not be comfortable with will feel. If we can grow our understandings of others we will avoid misunderstandings and increase our capacities to sympathize and accommodate.